Good afternoon, and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for the Urban Panel, Panel 1. We are a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consents to sever land. Our hearings are now in person at Ben Franklin Place. We also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube, and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name's John Blatherwick. I'll be chairing today's hearing. With me today are my fellow panel member, Mr. Kuklikian, and we have two members online, Ms. Tremblay and Ms. Lequier. Listed on the agenda and appearing on screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, we may be dealing with the agenda items in a different order. For your information, please understand that panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear any oral submissions relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant is required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing, and I believe all those signs have been posted. Okay. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application, followed by questions for the applicant and/or the applicant's agent and city planning staff. We will then hear from members of the public who have registered to speak, and we may also have questions for them. Finally, the applicant who has the burden of proof will have an opportunity to make final comments to the city, or pardon me, to us in reply. Please address your comments to the chair, starting with your name and spelling it if necessary, and your municipal address if needed. At the conclusion of the hearing, the panel may either make an oral decision or we may reserve our decision, which means it will not be delivered today. In either case, within 10 days of the hearing, the Committee of Adjustment will send an official written notice of decision and reasons for it for all parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Are there any questions regarding the procedure today? Okay. Before we begin, are there any declarations of interest from any of the members for this panel or the other two panels that are sitting this week? Mr. Kuklikian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will recuse myself from item 1, 525 Chapel. The property in question is located in my immediate neighborhood, so I want to avoid any perception of conflict. Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing from anyone else, I see. Okay. We have no withdrawal requests today. We don't have minutes to confirm. We do have, however, 3 adjournment requests on the agenda, and we'll deal with those first. And the first adjournment request is for item number 1, 525 Chapel. And I believe the agent is Mr. Silbert.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi there.
Good day. I'm requesting adjournment on this one. We received late comments from Building Code Services regarding limiting distance calculations. Since this project is not involving any actual construction, we're trying to make sure we clear or able to satisfy Building Code Services prior to going forward with it, because we may have to move the lot slightly to accommodate the limiting distances for windows. So I need some time to work through that. We only got the comments on Friday, so fortunately I haven't been able to work it out with Building Code Services at this time. I had asked for adjournment of 3 to 4 weeks whenever the committee meets, and probably not the next one, but the other one, if the following meeting, if there's space on the agenda.
We can accommodate you on the 5th of November.
That makes sense. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. So you haven't resolved this completely with Building Code Services?
No, still working our way through the process.
And you're confident that this can be resolved by the 5th of November?
Yeah, I believe we just have to figure out that they're satisfied with the calculations and either propose a limiting distance agreement or simply shift the lot line. If we'd have to shift the lot line, clearly having a decision from the committee here would have to be reversed again, so I'd have to go back again. So getting this sorted out prior to is important before proceeding at committee.
Okay. All right. If you're confident that you can deal with this by the 5th of November, then we can reserve, or we can adjourn that to this application to that date.
That'd be good. Thank you.
All in favor of adjourning the hearing for this application until the 5th of November. Right. The hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you next month. Second application that's up for adjournment is 379 Cooper. And the agent is Mr. Sutherland, I believe. Anybody there?
He's online, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sutherland, so you've requested adjournment. Would you kindly explain that, please?
Yes, so we just had an additional variance that was required that was brought up a little bit too late in the game to give enough notice for this hearing. So we're just requesting an adjournment to the next available hearing. We have already made our resubmission of our documents and updated plans to address this additional variance. We're just waiting on staff confirmation of that, but we should be in position at the next hearing to go through this variance.
So have all the materials regarding these variances been submitted
Yes,
and city staff have reviewed them?
not yet. We are just waiting on that confirmation, but we have sent them those documents and the update.
And does the committee have the information?
Mr. Chair, the committee can't confirm that we've received all the required documents, and committee staff would prefer to see the application adjourned sine die, as it will require recirculation.
Okay.
It was sent this morning, so perhaps that's why it has not been seen
You've
yet.
heard from staff that they're recommending that we adjourn this sine die because there's going to be a recirculation required.
Yep, fair enough.
Okay. All right. You mentioned one variance, and yet I think staff are talking about two.
So we've resolved the second one. We won't be required to apply for a variance for that problem, for that issue.
So there'll only be one additional variance.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. As far as anybody on the panel wish to speak to this adjournment, all in favor of adjourning this sine die? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very much. The third item that's up for adjournment is the application subdivision for 600 Manor. And that would be Mr. Nahal.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is actually Mr. Bede. I'm working with Tamara Nahal on this file.
Okay,
I'd vote
all
in.
right. Mr. Bede.
So we're requesting adjournment on this file, sine die, as the legal team works through some of the details of the proposed lot severance and conditions of sale of that proposed lot severance.
Okay. And you're requesting a sine die applicant adjournment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. At this point, we wouldn't want to commit to a date. There are a lot of I guess you could say complex or issues to be resolved, and they're not have to come back again.
This application has been before us a few times already.
It has, and I apologize for that. Some unexpected complexities have come up over the last few months, and certainly not our intent to continue to push off, and that's why we're asking for a sine die today, so that we don't have to do this again without really resolving those issues at hand.
All right. Okay. Any questions from the panel regarding this adjournment request? All in favor of adjourning this sine die? All right. Application's adjourned. Thank you very much. We have a number of unopposed applications on the agenda today, several of them. And our definition of unopposed applications, and I'll read it off the cheat sheet I have here. No objections or concerns from the parties, applicant, city, or the public. No amendments required. No registered speakers. Signposting declaration has been received. The applicant or their agent has confirmed that they agree with all requested conditions, if any, and there are no questions from the panelists. So today we have item number here. Items number 2, items number number 3, and number 7. Number 2 is 128 Bayswater. It's an application to subdivide the property into 2 separate parcels of land to establish separate ownership for each half of the existing semi-detached dwelling. Item number 3 is 2486 Carlson Avenue. And this is an application to subdivide the property into 2 separate parcels of land to create separate ownership for each existing duplex dwelling. And the last fast track item is item number 7, 92 Onslow. And this is to permit an increased gross floor area for a 2nd-story addition. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to any of these applications or online? Seeing none. For the 3 following applications, 128 Bayswater, 2486 Carlson, and 92 Onslow, have a show of hands, please, to approve these applications on the unopposed agenda. All right, those applications are approved. Good luck with your projects. Now move to the applications that the committee needs a presentation for. And the first application that we would like a presentation on is item number 4, 151 George, 126 York. And this is an application to subdivide the existing building into 2 parcels for separate ownership of the hotel and residential use portions and associated elements with reciprocal easements. Mr. Bede.
Hello, Mr. Chair. My colleague Mark Ousley will be providing the presentation today.
And just to note, as far as the request from the City of Ottawa, they want a servicing plan. And there's an additional condition request for a firewall confirmation. You're aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And also, just for our information, there is no JUMA in place for this, but you're working on a joint use and maintenance agreement.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. JUMA will be applied to the lands as part of the standard operating procedure moving forward.
Yeah, because there's going to be, there will be strata severances involved with this, I'm assuming.
Pardon? Could you repeat that?
There are strata severances associated with this application.
That's correct. The application today before you is to sever the property. I think technically you'd call it strata severance or horizontal severance, but essentially, as Mark will describe in his presentation, to create 2 separate entities.
Okay. All right. Well, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm here to present the consent applications for the property located at 126 York and 151 George Street. Next slide, please. So we could move to next slide, please. Here we see the subject site. The site is a P-shaped lot with a total area of approximately 5,084.4 square meters. It is approximately 61 meters of frontage along York Street on the north side of the site and approximately 40 meters of frontage along George Street on the south side of the site. Next slide, please. Located in a Byward Market, the portion of the site known as 126 York Street currently contains a 5-story former industrial warehouse, while a portion of the site known as 151 George Street is currently occupied by a 22-story residential tower. The building is currently approaching completion, and this application is related purely to the legal management of the building. Next slide, please. The subject site has been previously approved for a zoning bylaw amendment, a heritage permit application, and a site plan control application. Here we see the approved site plan as well as a rendering of the York and George Street frontage. Next slide, please. In order to facilitate the management of a hotel and residential rental facilities on the same building, the applicant requests the committee's approval of 2 horizontal consent to sever applications. The purpose of these applications is to create 2 separately conveyable entities for management purposes, as well as delineate the physical and functional separation of the hotel and residential components of the building through a horizontal severance plan. Multiple parts included with the easements are required for the building occupant, use, access, connectivity, and servicing. Ownership of the parts are not intended to be contiguous throughout the building. Some parts may not be connected with similarly owned parcels on certain levels, and the easements are responsible for creating connectivity. The requested consents are summarized in the following tables that have been submitted as part of the application. Next slide, please. So here we see an example of the ownership of the ground floor with the hotel property in pink and the residential property in blue. The next few slides have been included to demonstrate allocations of ownership as one moves up through the building. Next slide, please. So here we see the second floor ownership. Next slide, please. And here we see the 6th floor ownership where the composition becomes more residential. Next slide, please. Here we see the 8th floor ownership, which is entirely residential. Next slide, please. As detailed in the planning rationale submitted, the consent satisfies the criteria set out in Section 51 of the Planning Act. Next slide, please. In conclusion, it is our professional planning opinion that the proposed consent applications constitute good planning as they conform to the policies and objectives of the City of Ottawa's official plan. They comply with the applicable zoning provisions of the City of Ottawa's comprehensive zoning bylaw, and they meet the criteria for approval of consent applications as set out in the Planning Act. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to discussing our applications with you.
Thanks very much. Are there any questions from the panel regarding this application? Ms. Tremblay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to do with the underground parking requirements, I just want to make sure either the applicant or staff could answer the question. Just want to make sure that the parking is in compliance with the requirements under the zoning bylaw. And I didn't see a nice plan like you had for the other levels. Wondered whether or not you did have a plan that would show the distribution of ownership of the parking area. And I guess I have a related question to that. I take it there's a portion that's going to the hotel, which is much less, if I'm understanding this. No, they're getting the majority of the underground parking. It's the residents that's only getting a portion. So I guess that's I was going to ask why not lease some of those spaces from the residential side, but at the end of the day, just if you can just confirm that the zoning bylaw requirements are being met, that would be good enough. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the building has been previously approved through a zoning bylaw amendment, as my colleague Mark has also mentioned, through site plan control, and has also received permits for building. And so throughout those processes, the zoning bylaw has been confirmed to be complied with and continues to be so. This is simply an application to delineate ownership of the building, and none of those physical elements are proposed to be changed from the previous approvals.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to be sure that that had been covered.
Okay. Any other questions from the, thank you, Mr. Tremblay. Any other questions from the members of the panel? Is there anyone in the hall who wishes to speak to this item or online? Okay. Great. So we've confirmed that there's a second request from the city for a confirmation of firewall, and you've indicated that you're in the process of developing a JUMA for this property.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And that's not going to be a problem?
No, that is well underway, and the client's legal team is working on that. It's a standard procedure.
Okay. And Understand that the planning department is in support of this application. There's no problems.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. I don't think we need to reserve on this, do we, ladies and gentlemen? All right. All right. So in the matter of 151 George, 126 York Street, all in favor of the application as slightly amended? Your application's approved. Good luck with your project.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll now move to item 6 on the agenda, 12 and 20 Champlain. Mr. Hume is the agent for this application. Yeah. Mr. Hume.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the panel.
Like a presentation on this, we understand that you're not agreeing to 2 of the 8 conditions.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, we've resolved in discussions with city staff, the main conditions have been resolved. The only one that's outstanding is the one related to cash in lieu of parkland. And the reason is the city has changed, actually today, this morning, its collection procedures. And we just want to ensure that this application is, and the condition for cash in lieu is consistent with City Council's decision on the matter to collect at occupancy and not at building permit, and in this case, at consent. So we're just seeking an amendment to the condition that makes it consistent with City Council's position. And I think that I spoke to city staff about this morning. I don't know if the planner's online, but that's our only objection at this point.
So the independent services.
No, that's fine.
Condition is now.
Yeah, we're fine with that, Mr. Chair.
And that's just the cash in lieu, and this cash in lieu collection decision is based on applications already in the pipeline or applications coming into the city? That's my question.
Well, Mr. Gelbert would probably tell you, but I think it's applications that are as of today's date.
Well, let's find out from the planning staff, Mr. Gelbert.
Yeah, so as everyone's aware, this was heard by council at 11 a.m. this morning, and we still need to figure out here on our side what the implications of this are, if it's going to, if it's going to impact applications that have already been approved and are in the pipeline, or only new applications. So what we're recommending is there's really 2 options available to the committee. One would be to remove the condition for Mr. Hume and his client today. However, there is still assurance to the committee that cash in lieu will be taken at some point, whether it's at the building permit stage or at occupancy, depending on the direction from council. The other option would be to reword the condition as proposed to provide more flexibility. And we have some suggested wording for the committee today, but essentially it would give more of a delegated authority to staff here at the city to determine what the direction from council is, and if it can be waived at a later date once we have more information.
So, Mr. Chair, just to make it easy for you, we're not going to ask you to eliminate the condition. So we know your decision will come out in next week, and we would, whatever wording the city comes up with, consistent with City Council's decision, we're fine to accept.
But that's not what we have.
That's not what you have before you now.
No. And that's my question. I mean, the condition wording may change. We're not dealing with an altered condition statement. And I don't know about the rest of the members of the panel, but I'd like to see final in front of me.
Excuse me,
so I can
Mr.
make a
Chair.
decision.
I believe Madam Tremblay wanted to say something.
Ms. Tremblay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was actually really pleased to hear Mr. Gildart's second option to amend the condition. And I believe Mr. Gildart actually said he had some wording that we can amend this condition with. And that's what I would like to hear, is what he's proposing is that wording, and then maybe we can consider whether or not we want to accept it.
No, absolutely. So this wording was provided by our P3, Aaron O'Connell, but essentially you would keep the first part of the condition written as is, with a second part that would read, for the record, if the manager of development review, all wards, planning, development, and building services department, or their designate determines an alternative timing for the revisions of cash in lieu of parkland, this condition shall be deemed to have been satisfied.
Mr. Chair, that works for me.
Yeah.
Not sure.
That's fine. We would agree with that, Mr. Chair.
So Mr. Gildart, you can send us that wording?
Of course, is your preference that I send it to the committee coordinator?
Because is it going to end up in the decision that will be issued in 10 days? So.
Of course. So is the preference that I send it to the committee coordinator, the alternative wording?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the committee coordinator would be great.
Yeah.
Understood.
Okay, so the department's happy with that. You're okay with the amended condition? All right. So we've now eliminated your objections to those two conditions. And very, very briefly, your application concerns.
Mr. Chair, I'm joined by Phil Klugman, who is the owner of the property. But in essence, we have a short presentation if the committee wants us to walk through it. Okay. This is a bit of an interesting consent application. It involves two properties that exist as of today. They have buildings on them. They function, and if you throw up the first slide. But we were before the committee earlier this year to adjust the lot lines of those two properties to create two equal lots. And as you can see, these are the two existing buildings at 12 and 20 Champlain. The two lots as they existed before the lot line adjustment are outlined for you. So we came before the committee. We were granted a lot line adjustment. We created two new equal size lots, and that lot line adjustment was perfected in May of this year. Unbeknownst to us, well, I shouldn't say that. What was missed by both our side, planning, everyone who looked at this, was that the two lots, as you see them, had merged on title. So, and in fact, they had been merged since 1987. So the first property was acquired in 1963, followed by the second property in 1987. And at that time, they became merged, and they've been conveyed together ever since. And we did not have or we were not able to find any severance applications that created actually those lots. So after we perfected the lot line adjustment, it was determined that the lots had merged, and as a result, we had to come back to committee to actually sever those lots that we created by a lot line adjustment in May. So if you want to go to the second slide. So we're here to create to recreate, I guess, the lots that were approved in May of this year. So part 1 and part 2 will form one lot. Part 3 and part 4 will form the other lots, and they're consistent with your previous approvals. So we're seeking a consent from the committee to allow us to create those lots and move forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hume. Any questions from the panel regarding this application for severance? So what we have done is we've amended the condition 1. It's basically conditional approval subject to an amended condition cash in lieu, which is being submitted by the planning department. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, which will be articulated in our decision, which you'll get within 10 days. So no further questions from the panel on this application? Anybody in the hall or online wish to speak to the application? All right, so take a vote on this. All in favor of the consent application as amended? All right, your application's approved, Mr. Hume. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that application, that concludes our agenda for the 8th of October. Thank you very much.